Welcome to the 260 Journey. We're taking you on a journey through the New Testament. There are 260 chapters in the New Testament, and each day, Monday through Friday, we're reading one chapter of the New Testament, and then we're connecting our Facebook Devos to correspond to that reading. We get the weekends off. What a deal I'm giving to you. Welcome to 2 Corinthians 3. This chapter is so important because it's a challenge for the church and for us on how we're supposed to look. As we keep attending church every Sunday, going to small groups, listening to preaching, what's the end game? Where's all this heading? What's the win? Maybe a better question is, how do I know I'm winning and on the right track? That's 2 Corinthians 3, and a very important verse that Paul ends the chapter with. He's going to give you the win. So listen to these powerful words. This is verse 18. But we all with unveiled faces, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as from the Lord the Spirit. When you read the entire chapter, Paul recounts the story of Moses from thousands of years ago and what would happen to him every time he went on the mountain and talked with God. His countenance would change and radiate after being in God's presence, and everyone saw it. But after some time from the presence of God, the brightness would fade. Paul then says this new covenant brings something very special that the old covenant didn't. It doesn't change, it doesn't fade with the change. Did you get that? Change without fading. We get change, but it doesn't fade away. Paul is giving us the win. Let's unpack this for a moment because there are really two important thoughts here. First, these words are epic, but we all with unveiled faces. This is huge. When Moses came down from the mountain, Moses' face would shine from talking with God, and he would put a veil over his face. Here is where the problem lies. Some think he put it on it because his face was so shiny and bright and people couldn't look at it. But that doesn't seem to be the reason according to this verse. Listen to verse 13. It says, and we are not like Moses, who used to put a veil over his face so that the sons of Israel would not look intently at the end of what was fading away. You see, he would put a veil on his face to cover the fading, not to cover the brightness. This distinction is important. It seems he wanted the children of Israel to think that there was more than really was there. The veil was not to protect from the brightness, but seems to impress from something that's not there any longer. The veil was to impress, not protect. And then Paul drops the new covenant bomb. He says, we all with unveiled faces. Don't try to hide behind something like you got something going on when you don't, is what Paul was saying. We have to be real to be changed. He was saying, stop pretending to be shiny when you're not. You're dull like all of us. When we understand that, then God can do something that lasts. That's the next part. Listen to 18. But we all with unveiled faces, being real, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as from the Lord the Spirit. Like Moses speaking to God and being changed, as we behold the glory of the Lord, it happens to us. What's the glory of the Lord? Hebrews 1:3 says Jesus is the glory of the Lord. And as we see Jesus, we're being transformed into his image. The more we see Jesus in his word, in his people, in his church, change happens to us. Beholding is transforming, is what Paul says. And the transforming is into the same image. That means we start looking like Jesus in our ways, attitudes, and actions. That's the difference between Moses and us. We don't need a veil to hide the fading, because it's a transformation that has lasting effect. Our end goal, our win, is not to look like our church, our denomination, or even your pastor. It is to look like Jesus. Anything else will fade away. You should get a veil out. And each day you see Jesus, you get to become more like him. Thanks for joining the 260 Journey.